Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Sunday, October the 19th, 2025. My name is Hunter, presenting the forecast, and we're going to be looking at a large storm system bringing more severe weather in the form of damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes to the United States to round out this weekend. We're also going to be looking ahead to your long-range forecast, which includes Halloween weekend and Veterans Day in early November, and your tropical update as tropical trouble is brewing in the Caribbean. We'll get to your tropical update at the end. Also, make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up. Would love to hit 1,000 likes today. We got so close yesterday. Would love to hit it today, so make sure to press the like button. Also, share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, we do a coverage across Canada, the United States, and the tropics. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell to all so you get all my videos and all my live streams when I do post them to my YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get into the forecast and briefly note that we do have severe weather across the mid-Atlantic here possible today, including parts of the I-95 corridor. Millions of people are at risk here. We got areas near Baltimore, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, back down here towards Charleston, West Virginia, Roanoke, Atlantic City, all the way up into Long Island and New York City. So millions of people are at risk for severe weather as we go through today. More on that here in a minute. Let's look at our temperatures this afternoon. A little bit cooler up to the north into the upper Midwest, Minnesota and Wisconsin, even the upper peninsula of Michigan into the upper 40s to mid 50s range with our temperatures this afternoon. A little bit milder further south you go into the 60s and 70s, but boy, what a change that was. We were in the 80s yesterday in Nashville. We're actually at 68 for a high this afternoon. Also in the 80s was Little Rock yesterday. We were barely touching 70 degrees this afternoon. So a big change in season just 24 hours later. That's what we're seeing here. That's what a strong cold front does. And we look at our temperatures for the week ahead from Monday tomorrow, October 20th, through Friday, October 24th. We're going to lean cooler than normal. That's what these blue colors are showing from the Midwest through the Ohio Valley down here into the Southeast, although we're going to see a rebound in our wind coming more out of the South and Southeast across Texas, and this is going to help to rebound our temperatures back above normal. Now, keep in mind, in late October, our normal highs are coming down, so it won't be hard to get above normal temperatures down here across Texas, for example. Now, as we go into tomorrow, it's going to be another hot one down there in Texas. In fact, record-breaking heat from Abilene back here into the Rio Grande, where we could potentially be seeing middle, even upper 90s for high temperatures. But to the north, into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, Northeast, 50s and 60s will be the rule for the next several days, as we're going to see another cold punch of air coming down from Canada, and we're in the Twin Cities barely going to get into the upper 40s on Tuesday and even into the mid 40s up there, say Rhinelander, Wisconsin, Duluth, Minnesota. It's going to be a struggle to get to the mid 40s on Tuesday. Same deal as we go into midweek on Wednesday. Thursday, same thing. And Friday, guess what? It's the same thing. So fall in reality is actually setting in to the temperature department as we go through the week ahead. How about those low temperatures? Any frost freeze risk that we have to worry about? Well, we have patchy frost possible across the north woods of Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and the Arrowhead of Minnesota, which would be northeast Minnesota, going into Monday morning. So may need to pack a jacket if you're heading off to work and or school going into Monday morning. Tuesday, here comes that cold punch of air, a kind of reinforcing shot of cold air from the west. Rockies are going to be pretty chilly, especially the higher you go up in elevation there into the single digits and teens. And then waking up Wednesday morning, I think we're going to have a hard frost and freeze risk across the northern plains, the Black Hills region, for example, of the Dakotas down here into Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, even over into northern Michigan. Have to keep an eye on that for Wednesday morning. Thursday morning, much more widespread risk for frost and freezes here across the upper Midwest with mid 20s to low 30s expected. And then going into Friday, same deal, although a little bit further to the east. So definitely going to be a cold week ahead from morning into the afternoon, that is for sure. How about precipitation? Well, we have three separate storm systems that are going to be traversing across the lower 48. The first one is getting out of our hair today. This is the one that's going to be producing some severe weather perhaps into the East Coast region for this afternoon and evening. Another one coming in around midweek, late week here across the southern plains, deep south, and then another one across the west coast. So an active weather pattern is in store, but there are some brown areas here, and that means we're going to be leaning a little bit drier for the southeast, the Ohio Valley, and the Midwest, albeit during that 5-day period. So averaging out a little bit drier in those areas. Getting back to the severe weather for this afternoon on your Sunday, October 19th, there is a 1 out of 5 on the risk scale. In the dark green, this is an isolated threat for severe weather. Again, we mentioned those big cities, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York City, Atlantic City, and Dover, all the way down into Washington, D.C., Roanoke, Charleston, West Virginia, Parkersburg, getting down there into the Raleigh area, Salem there into North Carolina. We'll keep an eye on it. Right now, looks like a low threat for tornadoes. It's a 2% chance, but it's a chance nonetheless, so we'll keep an eye on that. But mainly, it's going to be a damaging wind threat up to 60 miles per hour and some quarter-size hail for the rest of today. Going into the day on tomorrow, on Monday, October 20th, the thunderstorm risk is going to be very minimal for the Northeast and southern Florida. The rest of the U.S. is going to be void of storm activity on Monday with that cooler air, and the same deal on Tuesday. A couple storms across the Great Lakes, a couple storms along the Gulf Coast, and including Florida. Other than that, the cooler air is going to suppress our storm activity even going into Tuesday. Let's start in the eastern U.S. with our regional view. We'll go to the central U.S. next, then the western U.S. after that. You can see this afternoon, we got the cold front coming in. That's going to increase our cloud cover across the Northeast. Those clouds will thicken and lower, and it'll bring a spell of some showers and storms as we go later into the afternoon across western New York, into central and western PA, all the way down into West Virginia, including the Appalachians and Virginia. Isolated storm activity further south into the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida. Overnight, we're going to see that rain overspreading parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Thunderstorms could be strong overnight with some stronger winds and some hail. Tornado threat is low, but again, it's non-zero. And then as we go through the day on Monday, we might need an umbrella to start the day here across Massachusetts, as we could be seeing some pretty heavy rain heading out to those bus stops for school or even heading out to work. And then we'll start to clear our skies a little bit. We'll say mostly cloudy once we head home from work and school Monday afternoon, evening across the Northeast, but wind whipped on the backside. We're going to see a lot of stronger winds coming in behind that cold front. Now, as we go into the central U.S., we're seeing some clearing across much of the plains and the Midwest, starting off with cloud cover this morning in Chicago. I think we're going to see mostly sunny skies as we head into later this afternoon, and that takes up residence across most of the Midwest. Increasing cloud cover across the Dakotas tonight into Monday morning could spell out some showers, especially for North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota. Those showers could be hefty at times. And then as we go through the day on Monday, an upper-level low-pressure system spinning up there, kind of a cold low, is going to bring some rain-driven wind, basically a wind-driven rain, if you will, across portions of the upper Midwest, as we could be seeing a lot of wind out there and a lot of rain, even potentially some snowflakes mixing in into North Dakota going into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Nothing that's going to amount to anything, but definitely keeping an eye on that. Further south you go, lots of sunshine as we go into Monday afternoon, maybe a few clouds, but again, those are going to be higher-level clouds. Going into the afternoon here for the West, we got a lot of snowfall in the higher elevations. We're talking the Cascades in Washington State and Oregon, Rockies in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, seeing a lot of that precipitation moving over those areas over the next couple of days. As we go into Monday, it looks a little bit drier for the Pacific Northwest, albeit a partly cloudy sky, so a mix of sun and clouds as we go through the afternoon there on Monday. Lots of sunshine for the desert Southwest, San Diego, Phoenix to Albuquerque, and even into Denver. Plenty of sunshine going into the day on Monday. Overall, as we go through mid and late week, we're going to see that upper level pesky low kind of steering across portions of southeastern Canada. And on the backside, it's going to be driving down northwest winds that'll be cooling our temperatures down for the rest of the week. Here comes our late week system that's going to bring some thunderstorm activity to the southern plains. Isolated severe weather may be possible in places like Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And then here comes our third system we mentioned earlier in the video. That'll be coming in across the West Coast, Pacific Northwest. Higher elevation snow, lower elevation rain is the name of the game with that as we get into next weekend. So looking at rainfall amounts between now and next Monday at 7 a.m. on October 27th, here's the rainfall amounts. We could see some heavy rainfall across the Pacific Northwest as far south as Northern California. And then we see some pretty heavy rainfall from the mid and deep south all the way through the southeast, up into the Ohio Valley here, northeast, and especially Quebec, Canada there. A little bit wetter across the upper Midwest, but still would like to see more rainfall in this region because look at our ongoing drought here. This was released last Thursday, and there are a lot of areas here, a moderate, severe, and even extreme drought, and not only just in the Midwest or Ohio Valley, but all across the United States. A lot of drought going on, so hopefully we can get some decent rains. Hopefully not all at once, though, but some decent soaking rains. On the snowfall front, looks like it's going to be mostly confined to the higher elevations of the Cascades, the Sierras, and the Rockies, especially there in the Pacific Northwest. We zoom out the look here, and it's Alaska, Yukon, Northwest Territories, especially the western coastline there of British Columbia. We zoom it in. There could be feet of snow here, and it could be over 6 feet really within the next 6 to 8 days across portions of western British Columbia. So those ski resorts, if there's any up there in Western Canada, are going to be feasting in the snowfall. That is for sure. Now, we did mention the wind. It's going to be a windy week ahead, so make sure to hang on to your hats out there. Could be seeing wind gusts over 40, perhaps over 50 miles per hour across the lower 48, and that is prompting some high wind warnings from Montana down into Wyoming, Colorado, even as far south as New Mexico. Wind advisories already up for the Appalachians and Smoky Mountains region. So it's going to be a windy go of it as we go through the week. That is for sure. Now let's look at the long-range forecast heading into next week. Monday, October 27th through Friday on Halloween, October 31st, trough is likely to be somewhere across the central and eastern U.S., ridging up there toward the Hudson Bay, weak ridging there in the desert southwest. And what that's going to mean is our temperatures overall during that 5-day period between the 27th and the 31st are going to lean a little bit warmer in the east and a little bit cooler in the west, but especially the Pacific Northwest. And we look at those precipitation trends, it does look to get a lot wetter. So this is some good news. Remember, we just showed you the drought. The Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the Northeast. Decent rain chances as we go in towards Halloween. Obviously not great for the trick-or-treaters out there, but we need some rainfall. A little bit drier, though, across Texas Hill Country, into the Red River Valley, into Oklahoma, and across the desert Southwest. That's just in response to that weak ridge that'll be building across the Southwest, kind of meandering a little bit further east with time. Now, looking here at the deterministic European model, it does produce some pretty hefty rains for the Northeast and really just the eastern U.S. in general heading in towards that Halloween weekend. And the GFS model is pretty much in similar territory in the central and the eastern U.S. getting pretty wet, the western and southwestern U.S. getting a little bit drier. We look at the snowfall prospects as we go into that time frame. Rocky Mountain snow is going to be the name of the game. The Cascades there in the Pacific Northwest, and we zoom out the look again. Yes, the winners are going to be British Columbia, Yukon, and coastal Alaska. That could be seeing feet of snow as we round out the month of October. That's for sure. Now let's turn over to your tropical update here, and we have a 60% chance of development. So we have better than 50-50 odds of seeing a system develop, whether that's a tropical depression or a tropical storm over the next 7 days right in the heart of the Caribbean. And that is something we're keeping a very close eye on because obviously it is in a very pristine environment, very warm water temperatures here. Not a lot of systems have moved through the Caribbean so far this season, and that has prompted an historical average. We're above that, right? We are 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius above the historical average for water temperatures, especially in the central Caribbean, especially near Jamaica. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as we have a lot of members. Here are the European ensembles showing a weaker system at first. A weaker system drifts westward, but will strengthen, and we'll see how far it strengthens once it gets into those warmer waters there near Jamaica and perhaps as far west as the Cayman Islands. And you can see a lot more of the GFS ensemble guidance starting to pick up on this as well. So there has been a slight uptrend now in this system across the Caribbean, as there was a downtrend a couple days ago, but now it's starting to uptrend yet again. So that is something we're watching. Now let's look here at the Pacific side, because we also have a chance of a system, maybe not as great as the Caribbean, but a 40% chance, has increased since yesterday. This is a wave that has moved across Central America, now going to be into the open waters of the Pacific, and it doesn't look to affect a lot of land mass or anything like that. Indirect impacts to Mexico, yes, are possible. This looks to be moving westward and into some cooler water, so I don't imagine this system's going to have a lot of legs with it, because there's been a lot of systems in the East Pacific thus far this season, and a lot of these have churned up some water, some upwelling, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. The ensemble guidance is really not that big of a deal. Again, a weaker system will drift further west, and again, that is pretty much the consensus, although there are a few members of the GFS ensemble that try to strengthen this to a strong tropical storm there briefly, but again, not really affecting any landmass there in the East Pacific. And right now, before we go, let's take a look here at the first half of November with our long-range outlook. This is the Climate Prediction Center's week 3 and 4 temperature outlook. Above normal there across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes into the Northeast, and also above normal from the desert Southwest towards Texas Hill Country, and then into the Southeast, we're a little bit below normal. That could be because as we go into early November, frequent cold fronts will likely keep us cooler into the Southeast than what we should normally see in the first half of November. Precipitation during that same time frame, again, what we're looking at is November 1st through the 14th. Drier across the Mississippi Valley in general, whether you're in Wisconsin or Mississippi, looks to be a little bit drier, a little bit wetter there for eastern Maine, down there in towards southern California and southern Arizona, and then really wet across the Pacific Northwest. That is the expectation as we go into the first 2 weeks of November. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed today's weather forecast, you want more of this, we cover Canada, the United States, the tropics, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and when you do, press it to all so you get all of the notifications for any videos, live streams that I do post on my YouTube channel. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Would love to hit 1,000 likes today, folks, and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for all your support. I definitely appreciate each and every one of you. That is very helpful to the channel, so thank you so much. And I'll see you again tomorrow in another video forecast as we'll update the weather tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and have a wonderful and safe rest of your Sunday out there.